2 books are out now. Great sales for
Oh,
the
wait,
week.
oh, wait a
People
minute.
are loving your books. It's got
I
to feel
know.
great.
I don't know. The sales are really doing well. I'm so happy. And thank you, thank you, thank you to the readers. Thank you. Yeah, so I got two books selling at the same time. And number 3 is going to come out much sooner, ladies and gentlemen, much sooner than book 2 did. Um, we should be able to have that put together probably, I'm thinking around the end of November, Thanksgiving. It's a really good book. Um, not quite as much sex in it as it is in this second book. And I'd love for my readers to tell me what they think of that, because it just fit in the story. It's not salacious. It's not for the just to throw it in there somewhere. It fits with the story, but there's a lot of it comparatively.
Okay.
Comparatively,
All right. So let's go to book 2. Review people, why people need to buy book 2. Go.
because it's great. It's got action in it. It's got mystery in it. It's got a murder in it. It's got a love story, a great love story, and you get to see how other people are coming together from the Four Horsemen, and you kind of can see what's happening with 2 of the other horsemen, because Martin was the first book, and he's fat and happy. You got Frederick in this second book with Margaret, and it's a romance. Excuse me, it's a romance, so it's happily ever after. And but you get to see Henry and Helen and John and Stevie. You see quite a bit of them in the second book.
All right. So I'm loving this. Let's continue the conversation with the thing is, you said there's a lot of sex. So that's got to be a sell for the second book, especially when we're getting to this cold holiday season and you got to open up a book specifically if you don't have your desired lover.
Yeah. Or if you do.
Well, that could be an interesting thing too, to recreate those scenes.
Well, yeah, that would be fun. And reading those to your significant other is always fun. You read those scenes and they'll go, can we try that? It's pretty good. Uh, yeah. Neil, your face.
All right, so this was never a thought of having an interview like that. All right, so let's go specifically. There's a murder.
Yes, there is a murder, and it happens very early on. And the Four Horsemen, they like to go to this one place called Temple of Venus. And it's a high class, actually, it's kind of like a high class bordello. They had those a lot back then, but this one is strictly for the aristocracy and high level sits, is what they call them, SITs, uh, people that make a lot of money in business. So it's not just anybody stops in, and they have food. They have the bar. They have a area where you can sit, play cards, whatever. Uh, they have gambling, and then if you're so inclined, they have ladies that you can knock on their door.
Yeah, we talked about this bordello thing. Come
Yeah,
on now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's
Where
not
did we, so are you a fan of the bordellos?
me. I don't think I've ever been to one. But I've been to places like in Switzerland, in I think it was Switzerland. Yeah, and in Zurich, they had some little places where you walk by and they had them right there. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Okay. So that's the type of thing. And finally, the main character decides once he gets his woman, he's not going to go to the Bardellos anymore, right?
Well, they probably will, but they go for the camaraderie and not for the ladies.
Oh yeah, just like Ben Franklin did.
Yeah, just like Ben, just like him and Thomas Jefferson.
Oh,
Yes.
and just like P. Diddy and all these other guys, all these married people, and
Oh,
just like the
oh,
ones that would go to what's his name island,
oh, oh, oh,
Epstein's Island, all those. So it
oh,
just never stops, right? It's always been that way.
oh, it's as old as time, you know. Um, uh,
Right. Unbelievable.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It is what it is. Sex is a part of life, just like eating and sleeping and all that.
Everything else.
Yeah, all that jazz.
All that jazz. Okay, so that's what you're gonna get out of this book. You say there's more sex than book one. Was
Yes.
that because your readers demanded it?
No, no, they didn't. They wanted to know when book two was coming out, but they didn't demand it. But I have been pretty uh, diligent in telling people that there's more sex in this book. Um, it's Frederick and Margaret. She's just loved him since she was a little girl. She idolized him. She dreamed about him. She the first time she saw him, she ran upstairs and pretended like she was dancing with him at a ball. She was about 10 or 11, I guess. And he never paid much attention to her. She was kind of they called them wallflowers because they kind of blended in with the walls. She wasn't very demonstrative, for lack of a better word. And there were a lot of other ladies that had the assets that most of those men were looking for. And so she didn't really stand out until probably her third year going into the high season with the balls. And then he takes quite a notice of her. But he doesn't like it because he doesn't want to get strapped down. But he's what he says about her is when I'm in the room with her, she pulls me into her orbit. And that's pretty much the way she was. He didn't want to be around her because he was so attracted to her. But when he was around her, he couldn't help
Okay.
it.
Wow. Definitely it seems like you couldn't help it. And what do you think? What do you want your readers to get most out of the book?
Well, it's a love story. So it's you know, it gives people hope, I think, that there can be a happily ever after. There's not always, but I think
Do you
I
just get surprised sometimes at things that you don't think are going to be happily ever afters in real life, especially when you worked in the restaurants and all those different things, end up being happily ever afters, even though there was a rocky time and then things changed?
there you see a lot of that. You also see a lot where they think it's happily ever after and it's not, or it runs its course.
So
But
define what a happily ever after is in your opinion as a romance novelist.
well, it is not defined by me. It's defined by the romance novel industry, I suppose, and that
No, I'm talking real world, not
in
romance.
world, oh my, in real world, I would all I can do is hope that people find a partner that they can talk to, that they're compatible with, that they enjoy the same things. And if they don't, that they can talk about the things that they do like together. Uh, I think that A sex life is very important. Uh, there's you have to have a friend. They have to be a friend.
A best friend. And sometimes if that doesn't work out, nothing happens. But what about when that does? Women want that best friend as their significant other, don't they?
I think that it's nice to have both. There are certain things that you want to do with your best girlfriend, but there's so much that you want in your husband or your partner as far as being a best friend. It's difficult sometimes because there are confrontations. People think that if you argue as a couple, then you're not happy. And that's not necessarily true.
No, that's the way you can work things out and
That's
make
right.
changes. And
That's
I think now, because women are fine being alone, men have to learn for a lot more self-improvement than they did before. I don't know why that's the case, but ultimately, uh, a lot, because a lot of women are more and more self-sufficient than 20, 30 years ago, that
yeah,
you better prove yourself as a man or you're going to end up
that's right. That's right.
living in a van down by the river.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Candy, John Candy. That's so hilarious.
No, not John Candy. Whoever it was not John Candy. It was the other guy. Living down in a van down by the river.
That's John Candy. He
It
did
was
that
not John Candy. It was the other guy.
on Saturday
Oh,
Night Live.
from Saturday Night Live. Yes, but the point is that all these lazy men out there need to go and provide, be there for them. It's a tough job.
It is a tough.
Only a few men have to do it, but maybe looking at that happily ever after and provide that will make your life a lot happier, if you
We
know
know.
what I mean, and not have to go to those bordellas all
Yeah.
the time,
What I
like
like,
Epstein's Island.
what I like about these two characters is they do talk. They end up where they are sharing and talking about stuff, life, and I think that really brings people together.
Right.
As far as the men and women, I have noticed, and I can't, I've never done research on it, but because I've been in the restaurant business for a long time, and then I worked in the healthcare industry, so I was around a lot of men. Um, I noticed that women, if they're not happy, they'll just leave. But if a man isn't happy, he won't leave until he has someone else to go to. That's what I've noticed. I'm not saying that's a fact. I'm not saying, I'm just in my observation. That's what I've seen. That, and I don't know if it's because I need somebody to cook for me or,
Who knows what it is?
yeah,
But it's a very interesting thing, and you're never going to understand women. So go get Mina Valentine's book right now by going to minavalentine.com. Write a 5-star review on both books, and we appreciate Mina, and thanks for stopping by.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. And thank you for buying my books. And can you see the background?
Oh,
Happy.
yes. Happy Halloween, but we have one more. And this is again for the one of the worst Halloweens ever, Halloween 3. Okay, so how many days do we have to Halloween? 6 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 6 more days to Halloween. It was one of the worst movies ever. All the others, why eliminate Michael Myers in Halloween 3? All right,
Hey,
talk.
then he's not in it.
In Halloween 3, he's not. You got to go back through. Go catch up on every one of the horror movies out there. That's what Halloween's for.
Oh, I'd hate him. I hate how,
Well, too bad. I love them.
you
And I
know,
want to see. And guess what?
here's,
I'm dressing up with in Halloween. I'm going to be Jason. So be ready.
here's a good one to see for Halloween. And it's an old one. It's with Cary Grant, Arsenic and Old Lace. And it
Uh,
is great. And
okay, thank you for that review.
it's,
Arsenic and Old Lace. I'll put that on there.
oh,
Appreciate it, Mina.